This little blog is all about, it involves my kind of deliberations on travel, also my investigation in paint and the application on some of my artworks, which is a new medium. I'm used to using acrylics and oils. The acrylic is interesting. It's got a kind of solidity about it, which whilst oil has a kind of viscosity and it really has a sense of a presence. You know, that presence in a way gives you the feeling that, you know, I am a sculptor. So that's how the journey began in around 2005, the sculpture, when I was in Mahabalipuram, and that morphed into different forms where I started to apply. Well, I got into this notion of creating molds. And to make the mold, I had to put latex around these marble sculptures and then encase that in fiberglass. And of course, well, investigating fiberglass, I found there were these polymers. And so I applied them later on, these pigment fiberglass flow coat onto the sculptures. That's where the painting started. I had no introduction to painting at all. And it was interesting. It created more vibrant sculptures. So I went along with that. It was only in 2016 I really began a journey in painting where it was just one summer where there was a lot of rain. I decided to put a whole lot of acrylic on these huge canvases of fiberglass, and I folded them over, and then I started to create shapes. So that was a very primordial sort of instinctive venture, and but you know, it created forms on the canvas, and I could create textures. So that's what my introduction was about, creating these textures through adding powder, talcum powder, into the acrylic. And then on top of that, to hold it, you know, it had to be out in the weather, so I put a clear casting resin over that to, in a sense, aid its waterproof ability. So the inks that I've been experimenting with too. So, you know, the whole journey of experimentation really is one that requires a sense that you have agency over these different mediums. So how did that relate to travel? Yeah, all right, so the travel part my own. So I was lucky I wasn't totally incapacitated. And it was a huge trauma to try to squeeze the clutch to get back to the base camp, to then put the bike on the vehicle, somehow got it back on the trailer, drove back to Townsville and presented at the hospital. They subsequently put me into an operation where I was put under, and a steel plate was then inserted, and it's been quite good ever since. So travel in some sense allows you to, from the artistic point of view, that's what I'm interested in. Like being able to sort of move around to Australia, it gives the opportunity then to create a sense of you being in a place and then documenting that, and then that can sort of form part of a small body of work, you know, the lived experience. So moving into these places gives me a sense that experiencing, for example, a deserted beach scene. Difficult to get to some of these places without having to go through the whole camping system. And so the push bike allows the person, so you know, half the fun of it is finding these very interesting areas so that you could then you know, photograph as well as do the painting in the outdoor painting, plein air, I think. I'm just starting using small canvases, A3 canvases. So, you know, going to these little places out and about, you're basically left to your own devices, you know, with nature. It's a very Taoist thing. The creatures that live on the periphery of society. It's on the edge, so yeah, okay. You know, art studio, artist sort of type.